Welcome back to P.com's continuing coverage of election 2013. I'm Jeff Horseman with the Press Enterprise and P.com, here with our latest installment of results, analysis, and even some interviews with some candidates who are on the winning side or maybe the losing side of their respective contests. So we want to give you first just another update. These are the latest numbers we have from the Riverside and San Bernardino County Registrar of Voters, so we're going to run through those in a few minutes. We have some reporters still on deadline working on their stories, but I hope to have at least 2 or 3 of them on to talk about their races a little bit more in depth. And then, like I said, we're probably going to have some more videos. So first, let's get to the Riverside County Registrar of Voters. These are the numbers as of 10/20. That was the last update that was available on their website. So starting off with the Banning Unified School District. Again, this is 5 candidates running for 2 seats, and with about 44% of precincts reporting, we have Martha Badiero in front with about 35% of the vote. She, I believe, is one of the challengers. Jan Spann and Jim Smith are the incumbents. Jan Spann is actually second for the second seat with about 24% of the vote, followed by David Vandenheuvel, Jim Smith, and John Kalani. Moving on, we have the Moreno Valley Unified School District. Again, this is a race to fill out the unexpired term of Mike Rios, who was convicted of pandering and pimp charges, and also faces, or at least faced counts of attempted murder in another case. So because of those convictions, the pimping and pandering convictions, he had to step down. And right now with, I believe it's 100% of the votes in. This is according to Riverside County Registrar of Voters. Gary Baugh has 52% of the votes to win that seat, followed by Janet McMillan and Jennifer Baca. So the next race we have is the Riverside Unified School District. There are actually 2 seats up for grabs in this, both held by incumbents. And with 100% of precincts reporting, it looks like Kathy Alavey is going to be winning another term, having defeated Arthur Murray. And for the other trustee seat, again, this is with, according to Registrar, 100% of precincts reporting. Brent Lee has scored perhaps what could be called the upset in defeating longtime veteran school board member Chuck Beatty, who was also a Riverside City Councilman in a past life. So looks like we'll have at least 1 newcomer to the board for the Riverside Unified School District. Moving on. Norco City Council, this is 5 candidates, 2 seats to represent Horsetown, USA. And with, let me bring that up, where is that? With 100% of precincts reporting, it looks as though incumbent Kevin Bash has won another term for that council, and he'll be joined by newcomer Greg Newton, who ran for an open, who's going to take an open seat. The other incumbent there decided not to run again. Greg Bowen comes in at 3rd, Trina Daniels 4th, and Stephen McCarron 5th. Riverside City Council, Ward 3. This was this is a seat that Rusty Bailey, the mayor, used to hold. This went to a runoff between Valerie Hill and Mike Subaru, and with 100% of votes in, it appears in the unofficial results that Mike Subaru has won a seat. Or has won that seat, defeating retired Undersheriff Valerie Hill. Mike Subaru is a former California Highway Patrol officer, ran for Riverside County Supervisor last year, and it looks as though, whereas he was unsuccessful for Supervisor last year, he has won election to the Riverside City Council. Moving on. Canyon Lake, there were 2 ballot measures. The first having to do with funding for the fire station. This was a special parcel tax the state officials said was desperately needed if you wanted to keep the fire station open, and otherwise they were going to have to close it and rely on service from stations in Lake Elsinore and Menifee. And with 100% of precincts reporting, it looks like that has gone down in defeat. Votes were nearly split, but even if there was a majority of people voting yes, it needed a 2/3 majority to pass. So it looks like unless the city council can find another way to fund that station's going to be closed. And there was another measure, this is called an advisory vote on a proposed development for a hill above Canyon Lake called Getz Hill. And again, with 100% of the votes in, it looks like the no's outnumbered the yeses on that by almost a 3-to-1 margin. Moving on, City of San Bernardino Mayor. Last I checked, I don't think there was an update, but we can certainly go over the numbers in that. There were a number of races in what has been described as a pretty significant election for that city. And for the race for mayor to replace Pat Morris, who decided to run again, you had no less than 10 candidates. Wendy McCammack was the top vote getter, followed by Kerry Davis. This is with just over half of precincts reporting. If these results hold, that means that both of the Kerry Davis and Wendy McCammack are going to be going to a runoff since no one won the majority in that race. San Bernardino City Council Ward 1, again, Virginia Marquez continues to hold a lead with just about a third of the votes in over two challengers, I should say, excuse me. Moving on. Ward 2, with 85% of votes in, challenger Benito Barrios is leading Robert Jenkins, who of course had to deal, or is dealing with felony charges of identity theft and, charges anyway of identity theft and stalking. Certainly that did not bode well for his campaign, and Imran Goy reports that he has since conceded to Barrios, so it looks like we'll have a new councilman in that ward. Ward 4, Fred Charette has about 48% of the vote and leading two challengers, but my understanding is unless he gets 50% plus one, we are going to have a runoff in that race between him and Anthony Jones. Fred Charette was the incumbent for Ward 4. This is not a recall, this is just a regular election, but again, my understanding is that unless there's 50% plus one majority, it triggers a runoff. And it looks like we are at the end of an era in the city of San Bernardino, as with, or at least if these results hold, with more than half the votes tallied, the recall effort against Jim Penman, the city attorney, has succeeded. Jim Penman, a very polarizing figure, has run for mayor, has clashed with Mayor Pat Morris on a number of occasions, and critics of his managed to get a recall question on the ballot. And so far that is succeeding. And assuming that holds, and assuming this result holds, that the San Bernardino City Attorney would be Gary Sines, who leads Tim Prince 56% to 43%. There's another recall in Ward 3 for Councilman John Valdivia, and again with 50% of the precincts reporting, looks like the voters decided not to recall John Valdivia by a roughly 2-to-1 margin. Go ahead. And again, if that recall is successful, Roxanne Williams would replace Valdivia, but again, at this point, it looks like that recall has not succeeded. The third and final recall in the city of San Bernardino is Ward 7, Wendy McCammack, who, interestingly enough, is leading, or one of the leading vote getters for mayor, which is good for her public service career because as things stand right now, she has been recalled from Ward 7. So she might be getting recalled from Ward 7, but might be gaining the mayor's seat. That's certainly something you don't see every day. And assuming she is recalled, right now Jim Mulvihill leads 5 candidates in the race to replace her if the recall goes through. And just going real quick, Manistee Union School District, Reg Bennett continues to lead Rita Peters in that race. Paris School District, that was 5 candidates for 3 spots, and I'm looking up the latest numbers here. Where are they? Paris School District. Here we go. Okay, they're saying with 100% of precincts reporting, and for the 3 seats, it looks like Jose Pepe Garcia, the incumbent, has won re-election. Only one vote separating Natalie Vasquez, the second place finisher, from Monica Martin, the third place finisher. And then coming in fourth is Noma Burke Hernandez. And Shirley Zaki, I believe, is last in that. So who knows? That might come down to absentees, or that might be one that's going to take a little longer to decide, at least in terms of those final two slots on the board. So is that it for? Okay. Great. Well, that's what we have so far. You can continue to check PE.com for updates as we get them throughout the evening. But now we want to turn things over to reporter Alicia Robinson, who covers Riverside City Government, and she is here to talk about the Ward 3 City Council race. So, Alicia, I know you spent time with both of the candidates. Talk about the results and what you've seen and heard tonight.
Well, I think that Mike Subaru, who is currently in the lead, was feeling pretty good when I saw him earlier tonight. He basically said that he just worked really hard doing a lot of precinct walking, and I can't tell you how many people in Riverside politics have told me that walking wins elections. Now, Valerie Hill did actually get out there in recent weeks and was doing a lot of precinct walking, talking to people as well, but I guess...
Alicia, can you turn your mic on, maybe?
It's on.
Is it? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Is that what you... Sorry, folks, I have a little technical difficulty.
Can you hear me?
Okay.
Anyway.
I apologize. Go ahead.
Okay. So anyway, they were both out there pounding the pavement, knocking on doors, talking to people, but it may turn out that Mike just worked a little bit harder. It certainly was not money that won this election. Valerie Hill raised a lot more than Mike Subaru did, and she outspent him about 3-1, the last numbers I looked at. So, maybe it was just shaking hands, talking to people, and maybe they liked, the message that he was delivering a little bit better.
Okay. Now, I understand you had a chance to speak with Mike Subaru earlier, and we have a clip of that?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. Can we see that now, perhaps? All right, here we go.
Hi, I'm Alicia Robinson, the Riverside reporter with the Press Enterprise and PE.com, and I am at the home of Mike Subaru, who is one of two candidates in a runoff election for Riverside's Ward 3 council seat. The latest results from the Riverside County Registrar of Voters show Subaru in the lead. So, Mr. Subaru, tell me a little bit about how you feel about the current results.
Well, I'm obviously very happy about it and looking for a victory by the end of the night, or possibly by tomorrow, depending on what the numbers show. But, I look at this as a victory for Riverside and the voters. They are speaking their mind and their position, and I believe that they've received the message, and I think that they want to move forward and see their city grow, and they feel that I'm the person to do that. So I'm going to do my very best to join the ranks of the other councilmen and help move Riverside forward and do what's right for our people. And everything that I told them that I would do, I will work diligently each and every day.
And so if these results do hold up, then what are the first priorities that you're going to have once you take office?
I'm going to immerse myself in learning about the city functions, from the inside. As an outsider, it's tough looking in and trying to find, exactly how some of the pieces of the puzzle fit together. So I just want to immerse myself and learn as much as I can and look into that budget and find out what we have and where we stand on everything and go from there and listen to everybody. I want to continue to listen to the voters, and I want to continue to listen to the people that work for City Hall and get their input. But ultimately, I work for the voters, and I will uphold what I said, and I will work for them and not City Hall.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, Alicia. We appreciate that and all your hard work covering this election. And now we're going to turn to the Banning School District, and the reporter we have covering that is Gail Wesson, and she joins us in the studio now to talk about that race. So, Gail, can you talk a little bit about who was running in that and maybe what some of the issues were in that leading up to tonight's vote?
The race was for 2 seats on the school board, and there were 2 incumbents who were just appointed last summer to fill vacancies and 3 other challengers. And it looks like with the 100% of the vote in that we've got 1 new member who's been on the board, Jan Spann, and the other is Martha Baderio, who's a retired school teacher, 25 years teaching Banning Unified. Jan Spann is in the automotive parts business. The issues were mostly related to how to increase attendance, how to offer more diverse programs for kids, vocational training, a lot of different things than what they're doing now.
Okay. Was there any sense of, was this the expected outcome, or did people have any ideas of how this might go in? I'm just wondering, is this what people were expecting? Or, I know there's not a lot of polling that goes on with these type of races, but was there any particular big spender or any favorite going in?
Not in Banning. All the candidates filed the statement saying they would raise or spend less than $1,000. The only difference being that Jan Spann, Martha Badderio, David Vanden Heuvel placed third, all had candidate statements in. Jim Smith did not. He was appointed to the board last summer. I'm not sure if that made a difference or not. There wasn't a lot of campaigning going on.
I understand. All right. Well, Gail, thank you very much for taking the time to talk about this with us, and we'll let you hand things off here to reporter Dana Straley, who's been busy covering school board races as well. And while that's happening, I just want to remind you that besides the show we have tonight and what we have online in terms of photos, and you can follow reporters on Twitter and so forth. We're gonna continue to cover this tomorrow. We hope to have a show maybe around noon. Don't quite know what's going to be in it yet, but maybe we'll have some winning candidates in talking about now that they've won, what their plans are, and just some more analysis. But just because this wasn't a quote unquote big name election doesn't mean that it's not important and it doesn't matter to a lot of people. So we're going to continue to provide the best coverage you can get out there in terms of Inland Empire elections 2013. So now we have Dana Straley. Hi, Dana.
Hi, Jeff.
And you have been covering, we've been focused primarily on the Riverside Unified School District, which
Yes.
Looks like we're going to have a little change in that, and I'll let you
Yes.
talk about that. So, what do you think about the results so far?
Well, the results followed, from the earliest returns that were mail-in ballots only. Those results held up, percentage-wise, pretty close all evening in both Riverside Unified's Trustee Area 1, Trustee Area 5, and the Moreno Valley School Board race as well. The big change is that challenger Brent Lee has unseated longtime Riverside School Board member Chuck Beatty, who spent much of his career working for the school district. Then he was on city council, and when he left the city council and after he had retired from the school district, he has served 2 terms on the school board, and he wasn't reelected. Lee said his supporters said that they thought there was some change needed for Riverside, and it was time for a new generation. Lee is a lot younger than Beatty, who's 78, and Lee is 33.
Okay. Well, that's certainly quite an age difference and quite a difference in terms of experience and perhaps perspective. Now that Brent Lee appears to be the choice or the new choice for the school district, what do you think he's going to bring that that might be different from Chuck Beatty, or what's kind of on his agenda now that he appears to be a school board member?
He hasn't really talked about an agenda, but I think he's going to bring in just a new perspective, new voice, a younger generation. The face of Riverside has changed a whole lot in the past 10 years, and I think there's a lot of supporters who think Lee is more in touch with the new Riverside as opposed to Riverside the way it was a few years back.
Now, we were talking earlier about the fundraising. Can you talk a little bit about what went into the race between Lee and Beatty?
Well, at the last tally, Lee had a little bit more than twice as much in campaign donations as Beatty, and they had both spent most of what they had raised. And there's been probably some more in the last filing period leading right up to the election. Lee had over $34,000. Beatty had more than $14,000, which is a lot. Both counts. That's a lot of money for a little trustee area with 22,000 registered voters. Lee said that he and his supporters knocked on 11,600 and some odd doors. Some of those doors they knocked on more than once, but they were out knocking on doors and talking to people. Beatty and his supporters were out campaigning too. it was a hard. There were a lot of signs up all over Trustee Area 5 for both candidates. I mean, there was a lot of campaigning that went into both of them, but.
All right. Well, it's going to be interesting seeing, both the end of an era with Chuck Beatty, leaving, presumably, I don't know, maybe he runs again for something else. You never know. But, certainly maybe a lot of people are expecting this to be the end of his career public service. And Brett Lee, he got what he wanted. He got the change, and it'd be interesting to see how that translates going forward in terms of the actions he takes as a board member for the Riverside Unified School District. So, Dana, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it. And now we're going to go to some videos that have been shot in the field by our reporters. And we first start in Horsetown, USA with the Norco City Council race.
This is Richard Yadley in Norco for PE.com on election night, where candidate Greg Newton is a high second place, along with Kevin Bash, in the early results from the Norco City Council election. Mr. Newton, how do things look for you?
Well, good evening, and thank you for coming tonight. And I'll keep my eye on the camera.
That's fine.
But looking at those results, I'm going to worry till the very end, and but I believe that with those percentages, we're in real good shape right now with the absentee ballots. And here in another hour or so, we'll find out about the ballots that were cast today at the polling places.
All right, well, thank you, Rich. And I am told we actually have another video from the Norco Council race, so let's watch that.
Okay, we're both with the two winning Norco City Council candidates from Tuesday, Kevin Bash and Greg Newton. Mr. Bash has been reelected to a second four-year term. Mr. Newton is new to the council. He'll be taking the seat being vacated with the new year. So, gentlemen, both of you, congratulations. And
thank you.
Very quickly, Mr. Bash, what is your plans for your next 4 years?
I am so looking forward to it. Next year's our 50th anniversary. Lots of events, 50th year of cityhood, and I'm looking forward to just building the general fund and fixing roads and doing all that stuff. Yeah.
And Mr. Newton, you're new to the council. What are your plans?
I'm still going to concentrate on doing what I've been doing as far as quality of life issues, police enforcement, infrastructure, and our seniors.
Thank you both very much. From Norco, this is Richard Yadley for PE.com.
All right, thank you again. That was Rich Diatley reporting from Norco. And now we shift to the city Canyon Lake, where the word no was the order of the night in terms of two ballot measures that voters in that city decided. So here we go.
The vote against Measure E is overwhelmingly against the grading development. What kind of message does that send?
I'm happy to say that since the message is our citizens did not believe anything that the Sky Blue so-called development company has been putting out in all their ads and advertisements. Sky Blue has never developed anything. Sky Blue only has been talking about grading. Actually, it's actually a mine. The state of California, the Attorney General, the State Bureau of Mining and Geology, and the Riverside County Transportation and Development Agency has all come out and said that this, for all intents and purposes, would be a mine. The mine they expected to take over 6 million tons of granite out of that hill, level it to the ground, and make a tremendous amount of money. And they said it was going to be for the benefit of Canyon Lake. Somehow that just didn't ring true to anybody, because they had actually sued Canyon Lake and the Property Owners Association for over $25 million just in the last couple of years. Fortunately, they lost all those lawsuits, and we're happy with the results here, and we think it's going to send a message to the City Council that and permanently put an end to this concept about getting rid of our beautiful hill and maintaining our scenic beauty that we have here in Canyon Lake.
Okay, that was Michael Williams reporting from Canyon Lake. And finally, I believe we have an interview with San Bernardino Councilwoman Wendy McCammack, who finds herself in the interesting position of being both a loser and a winner at this point. It appears so far, based on the returns, that she has been recalled from her Ward 7 seat, yet she is also running for San Bernardino mayor and is one of the leaders in that. And if those results hold, she will be in a runoff to be mayor of San Bernardino. So here she is.
The message was generally the city's got to get back to basics. It's got to provide the essential city services to the residents that they deserve. And frankly, there's only enough money to pay for basic essential city services. And we have to stop the non-essential spending, which is what I've been saying forever, and just provide exactly what A, we can afford, and B, what's necessary. And that's been the message all along. I think it's superstitious to assume anything at this point, and I'm more willing to be cautiously optimistic than I am to be over the top thinking it's done, because it's not. There's a lot of votes yet to be counted and verified. So let's just hope that the work that has been done in the last 6 or 8 weeks of the campaign has paid off, and I'm hoping it will have paid off.
Okay, that was San Bernardino Councilwoman and mayoral candidate Wendy McCammack. So that's it for now. We again want to thank you for joining us this evening and letting us bring you the results and analysis that only our reporters can bring. Appreciate it, and we hope to see you tomorrow again. We're planning around noon to have some type of post-election show, and hope to have some more details for you there. And just thank you for watching us throughout the evening and for reading the Press Enterprise and PE.com. I'm Jeff Horstman, and see you soon.